Welcome to this week's TV Roundup, and this was one hell of a week. Starting up with Star Trek Discovery, episode 12, Vaulting Ambitions. And this one had basically three storylines going on. One centered around Michael and her being invited to the Emperor and still trying to pretend to be the Marionett's version of herself, although that one quickly doesn't work out when the Emperor basically tells her that she betrayed her, and then she had to reveal who she really was so as to not be killed by the Emperor. The other storylines were Ash Tyler on board of the Discovery, or rather, of course, Vok, and his internal struggle between the two identities, which wasn't really shown except for that he was in agony all the time on the sick bay. Only with Laurel's help could they at the end help him, and apparently she did revert him to a more human form, because when she was doing the procedure on him, they were speaking Klingon to each other, and at the end he, while still finishing his sentences, would start speaking English, so it can be assumed that he is more human in his mindset once again. It was also revealed that he was actually based on a real Ash Tyler, so that's good to know, I guess. The third major storyline was Stamets in his mind with his mirror of herself, and that basically just led to him discovering that the mycelial network has been damaged, which he later found out was caused by his mirror universe self, who he was trapped in there with, and he basically just at some point decided to wake up due to being told to do so by Paul. Whether spirits are actually able to cross over into the mycelial network or if that was just his subconscious projecting him as an avatar is unknown. The main storyline with Michael ends with it being revealed that the Terrans are sensitive to sunlight as opposed to the normal humans. That plays into the fact that it turns out that Gabriel Lorca was his mirror universe counterpart all along. So, Supergirl, Season 3, Episode 11, Fort Ross. The main plot of the episode is about Supergirl and Imra, together with Livewire and Psy, both former Supergirl villains, going to Fort Ross to question a Kryptonian priestess about rain. And Fort Ross at this point is orbiting a blue star, which apparently emits a type of radiation that kills all men. So that was their excuse for having an all-female team. Also, apparently, around a blue star in the Arrowverse, Supergirl doesn't have her powers, which was different in the comics, because in the comics, they said that a blue star was actually stronger than a yellow star, and that would supercharge the powers, but it doesn't matter. So, they go to Fort Ross, some stuff happens, but the real takeaway is A, Supergirl gets through to the villains. They both actually work for her, without any kind of betrayal or anything like that. B, they actually find some of the information they wanted. Then, Rain also appears, who was given a spaceship to fly to the station as well, and she kills the priestess before she can give up more information. And then at the end, Supergirl and Rain and Livewire have a fight, and Livewire actually sacrifices herself to save Supergirl. Meanwhile, in the B plot, Alex is babysitting Ruby, and they confront a bully that was bullying Ruby, with Alex using her FBI badge to dissuade her from further bullying, which was pretty fun. And at the end, Sam picks up Ruby again, and then she talks about how she's been missing time lately and she doesn't remember where she goes sometimes, and it seems like she's discovering that she is Rain. Not directly that she is Rain, but that something's up, and this will probably lead to her discovering that she's Rain sooner or later. It'll be interesting to see where this goes. And next up, The Flash, Season 4, Episode 11, The Elongated Night Rises. Now, as the title implies, this episode is a lot about Elongated Man, or Ralph Dibny. He actually gets the name at the end of the episode, the Elongated Man that is. But first, let's talk about the Flash storyline, the actual Barry Allen one. So, Barry's in jail. He is a model prisoner. Iris visits him on a daily basis, and he almost gets beat up, but then Goldberg saves him. And then later he saves Goldberg, and they become friends, kind of. The main story storyline of this episode was Ralph Dibny being a hero around the city, and then Trickster's mother breaks him out of jail, and they go and do all kinds of chaos around the city. And when Axel uses his new acid, which according to Wells has a pH value of -50, which is extreme, when Ralph gets sprayed by the acid, he realizes that he's not immune to it. Where anything else couldn't hurt him, this can. And then he basically chickens out and doesn't want to fight him anymore. He goes to Barry, trying to break him out so that he can stop the villains, but Barry just basically tells him to man up and that being a hero means sacrifice and potential risks and all that stuff. And after that speech, Ralph actually ends up facing him, and Team Flash wins the day as per usual. Trickster and his mother are back in jail. Elongated Man now has his name. At the end of the episode, Ralph and Cisco meet a girl, which seems to be important to the storyline. She paid for their coffee, and at the end she wrote some stuff down in her notebook in weird characters that I believe were the same that Barry wrote down after he escaped the Speed Force. We'll see where this goes, and next up we've got Arrow, Season 6, Episode 11, We Fall. This means that Episode 10 and 11 together spell out Divided We Fall. Referencing, of course, the split in the team, and the fact that they actually end up working together anyways, although not as they would have if they were still one team, but more as in like they share information. This episode does a few things. First of all, Caden James, through the virus that he planted in the internet before the season break, he takes control of the city, and he blocks off all exits, and then he shows up in the mayor's office, which means that this is the second season in a row where a villain shows up in Oliver's office threatening him. The other main thing here is that Vigilante actually is only infiltrating Caden's organization to bring him down, so he shares intel with the new Team Arrow, or as Curtis suggested, they call themselves the Outsiders, in reference to the team that Batman found in the comics, of course. And at the end of the episode, Oliver actually decides to give in to the demands that Caden made early in the episode, and he wired $10 million to him because of what he did to the city. I'm really curious to see how this plays out in the long term, especially because the reason why Caden James is trying to take down Oliver is because he supposedly killed his son, which definitely did not happen, but apparently it's impossible to find evidence against it. So maybe this season they'll actually take him down just by convincing him that what he thought to be true was in fact not true. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D, Season 5, Episode 9, Best Laid Plans. In the lighthouse, the humans band together, and of course Cassius can't have that. He sends a messenger telling his demands, and that messenger is Tess, who previously died but was brought back, presumably through Kree blood, as has been done with Coulson. If his demands are not met, Cassius threatens them that he will, basically he said something about like having them burn or something, and they figure out that there's incendiary bombs at all levels directly wired into the oxygen system. Yo-Yo and Mac confront Cassius, and after a lot of back and forth conversation, they actually reveal that they've deinstalled all the bombs and they blew up some of the non-human levels so that they cut off Cassius from the humans. In the other storyline, Team S.H.I.E.L.D tries to get the Zephyr working again. They found out that it's actually powered by gravitonium now. They can't fully fix it, so they have to use the gravity storm to ride into space and then use maneuvering thrusters to actually control the ship. Then Sonara attacks Cassius's enforcer, and her and Quake fight. Once they hit space, they go to 0G, and then Quake impales her with a metal rod from some kind of railing. And then at the end, Cassius says that he knows they're coming and where they're gonna land, and he says that he has a seer of his own. I don't know who that is or what that is. I think maybe he just has some old S.H.I.E.L.D files that exactly detail what happened in the future. Blindspot, Season 3, Episode 11, Technology Wizards. Now this episode's title is in reference to what I feel like is the B-plot of the episode, which is the fact that the Wizardville app has been hacked. They use that to reuse the character of Boston, who apparently helped Patterson in the program of the Wizardville app and was also responsible for the later breach. In that storyline, they're basically revolved around bombs being sold to the Dabarzan, who are kind of a reoccurring terrorist group here. Maybe they'll play a role later, I don't know yet. That storyline was kind of secondary The main storyline was that they found out that Avery's still alive, and they went to Berlin to save her, which they were eventually successful in. There's a lot of character stuff between Jane and Weller, and at the end they find her and bring her back. Weller talks to Roman through Bulletproof Glass, and at the end Roman calls Jane now that they have Avery back, and he says enjoy it while it lasts. Not sure what that means yet. Maybe he has some way of killing her, maybe she still works for him. Like the video if you enjoyed it, and subscribe if you want to see more of this. I do this every Sunday, and I still have to figure out a good way to end the video.